Welcome to Insight into Injury. Here is how you avoid an ankle sprain. Now you might be thinking, what? Just be extra careful where you're walking, stare at your feet the whole time, don't have that extra one at happy hour, avoid the cat, I'm not sure. But ankle sprains actually can be prevented if you've got good strength and good flexibility in your ankle. Today, Carrie's here with me and we're going to talk about some exercises as how to achieve just that. First thing we want to do is get things warmed up. So start spinning your ankles, and as you're spinning your ankles, we're actually trying to make really big circles going outward. Do about 10 of those. This is especially good first thing in the morning if you feel a little stiff, or if you've been sitting all day, or even if you've been driving in traffic, the brake, the accelerator, back and forth. Go ahead, switch directions. If this is the first thing you've done in a while with your feet, you might even be feeling almost even like a muscle burn just from doing these active range of motion activities. Once they get a little blood flow to them, then we're going to go into stretching. And especially since most ankle injuries occur when your foot kind of twists inward, go ahead, Carrie, grab your leg up in here and let's show them that exact motion where you're twisting your foot inward. You want to make sure you're good and flexible in that. So if you do encounter a crack in the sidewalk, your ankle is able to absorb it. So just pull and stretch. You're going to be feeling that stretch happening here along the outside part of your ankle. These are fine to do in shoes or in bare feet. You might have a little problem if you got your work boots on if they're high tops, just because you might not be able to get a good twist. But something's better than nothing. Try to loosen those up. The next exercises we'll do will be to stretch your calf, and we'll do those standing. So the calf muscle is comprised of two major muscles. We've got the gastroc and the soleus. We'll talk about those. Carrie, if you could go into a straddle stance position, and with your back leg, the leg that's behind you right now is the one that you're going to feel this stretch in. If you're feeling uncomfortable with balance, go ahead and just make sure you got a chair nearby or a wall that you can hold on to. And here, with this back leg straight, and make sure your toes are pointing straight ahead here, so they're both pointing the same direction. Make sure your heel stays in contact with the ground. And if you can't quite achieve those, then you would kind of bring your feet closer together. So if you're feeling a good stretch right now, it should be in this muscle. The gastroc muscle back there is the larger of the two calf muscles, and it's felt when your knee is straight. So this back leg, just make sure you're keeping that knee straight. You can bend this one though to get a deeper stretch, and you'll feel that pulling all the way from your heel and maybe even up above your knee at times if you're really tight. To stretch the soleus muscle, which happens to be underneath, a little bit deeper in your calf muscle, you bend your back knee as well. And as Carrie shifts into that position, the stretch you should be feeling is down here lower into your Achilles, closer to your heel. Each stretch should get about 20 seconds or more, and feel free to switch legs and do this as often as you can throughout the day. Of course, it's pretty simple to do. You don't need any equipment. You can do it barefoot. You can do it with your shoes on. It's especially helpful if you've been wearing high heels all day. You want to loosen up these muscles. We're going to go on to strengthening exercises. And the first exercise, just with feet shoulder width apart, and lift your heels up off the ground and back down. And this one you don't have to hold in that position. You're just going up and down at a comfortable pace, just like Carrie's doing. Now this exercise, you're going to be feeling the muscles working, those same muscles you just stretched. Now you're going to feel them tense up, and that's just what you want to feel. Your arches are going up as high as they can go. You're on the balls of your feet. And there's a couple variations to this to adjust for other muscles in your calf. Carrie, turn your toes out a little bit. And same thing, lift your heels up off the ground. The muscles you're feeling now should be a little bit more along the inside of your calf and into your arch. Usually 5 to 10 repetitions of these does the trick. You want to feel it kind of burning, like the muscle is getting a workout, but not any sort of pain. And the last variation of this is to turn your toes inward and lift your heels back up again. It's a little tougher on the balance here for sure. And again, this isn't a balance exercise, so if you wanted to have something nearby so you could really focus on the strengthening component of this, that's always a good idea. All right, speaking of balance, we're going to jump right into a balance exercise. Now, balance exercises should never be easy. You should never really feel like you're too good at balance, because then you just want to challenge yourself with a harder one right after it. So, Carrie, if you could just start by balancing on one leg. The leg you're standing on should be straight but not tense. Your other leg should not be touching that leg. It's a little cheating. It makes it a little easier if you're kind of wedged up against the legs down there together. And Carrie's doing an awesome job at this. I see a few little muscles kind of jumping down in here as she adjusts for her balance. And that's normal. You're going to feel your toes maybe gripping in, your arch spinning back and forth. All that's normal. That's great. So these ones in here, you can almost see a little bit of muscles twitching in there. And that's the minor adjustments that happen every split second. If you're on uneven surface, those muscles are going to grab and contract and keep yourself from rolling your ankle. We want to make sure those are really strong. To make this exercise more challenging, we're going to add a little twist to it, literally. Carrie, from this position, go ahead and do about 20 to 30 degrees, twisting to the left and to the right. And that's just right. Make sure you're not doing a little twist and shout move here with your hips. You want your shoulders and your hips and your belly button, everything to kind of go in the same direction. The only thing that isn't moving is your foot, which stays firmly planted on the ground. If you're still finding this to be pretty easy, pick up the tempo. So every change of direction, as you hit that side from turning to the right and you pivot back to the left, those muscles have to work extra hard to make up for that quick motion. Another balance exercise that we'll do, we'll go on from here, is, let's work, how's that one leg feeling? You want to work the other leg?
Yes.
Okay, so for this balance exercise, stand on your left leg, and your right leg is going to kind of open along with your belly button facing me. And without putting too much weight on your right leg, pivot your body all the way around until you're pointing in that direction. And make those circles so your hips are going to be swiveling around again, and your toe of this foot is just touching down for a little bit of balance. Very good. As she steps this way, her ankle has a little minute to rest, and as she pivots around that way, the muscles along the inside of her arch are really working hard to keep her foot flat. So go ahead, I'll get out of your way. Thank you, Carrie. And back and forth. One more variation to this would be the step across. This would be the step across with twist. Now we're just going to do the regular step across. Same thing, keep your left leg right where it's in place. Take your right leg and this time lean out, kind of like you're lunging to the right. And now cross your leg in front of that leg and lunge to the left. So here we're seeing the ankle twisting and rolling, and yet at the same time, the efforts of the strengthening of this exercise is to keep your foot flat. So Carrie's left foot right here, even though it wants to strain and twist that way, she's keeping her foot flat and her toes pointing straight ahead. And then as you lunge over this way, she's not letting her foot roll up to the side at all. Just going back and forth. It almost is like a stretch too. All right. Thank you, Carrie, for demonstrating these challenging balance exercises. Just making them look easy, guys. Don't feel bad if you're having a hard time with these or if you're kind of stumbling a little. Safety first. Grab onto a countertop or at least have something nearby in case you lose your balance. But these exercises should do the trick of keeping your ankle strong and flexible, which will prevent an injury. Thanks, Carrie.